Hey, how's it going, party people? Coach Patrick here in Jersey Station, back with another weekly episode. Thank you so much for joining me. In this 15 minutes, I'll be talking to you about the importance of early season hydration, why you really need to get that organized right away to make sure that you're going to have a successful transition from indoor to outdoor training and also a successful race season as well. Before I begin, just a reminder, Jersey Station is the place where athletes across the globe come together to learn how to become smarter and faster athletes. We do it in a community model with team coaching, which means that we train off of similar training plans and aligned manners, working in small groups, collaborating and learning from one another, and becoming better along the way. It's a ton of fun. And it's also a very effective model as well. So if you've been training on your own, or you're just bored of your regular training program, or tired of just talking to one person like your super boring coach, then join Endurance Nation. A 30-day money-back guarantee. Super easy to get involved. Just go to endurancestation.us/new join, and there you can learn more about the team, see if we're the right fit for you. Reach out, start your trial, connect with me and the rest of the folks on the team. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to walk you through it then. All right. So hope to see you inside the team and as soon as possible. All right. Awesome. So in this week's episode, I'm talking about the importance of hydration in early season training. And this is an important concept. So people generally as endurance athletes, that for you, and hydration, important. I get it. Right, coach? Hydration, important. I get it. Well, there's an importance, or there's a difference, I should say, a nuance between just hydration generally being important for humans and for athletes in particular, but beyond that from a seasonal perspective. And early season hydration, I call this period of time where we're transitioning from indoor to outdoor training, or springtime, whatever that may be for you. And the reason why this is important is because our fueling habits change when we're indoors versus outdoors. Inside Endurance Station, in the wintertime, we follow our out-season protocol, which is quality over quantity. It's a very different style of training that we will do in season as we begin to add volume and get more race-specific heading into the big day. As a result, our nutritional needs have become diminished. And, just to maintain body composition and just not go insane, we're not eating a ton of food while we're inside, right? So we've dialed it all down. We're inside and things work really well. Controlled environment. You've gotten used to it over a couple months. You've got your setup for wherever it is you're training on, your swim, your bike, your run, whatever it is. And you're getting your sessions done. You know how to manage it. You probably made some tweaks early on, but for the last 2 or 3 months, 2.5 months, maybe, depending how committed you are, things have been going really well. It's a nice balance for you in terms of how things are working out. So what does that mean then for us when we're trying to think about being successful in a race? Well, the difference is that obviously our races are not indoors unless you're on Zwift for the fun of it. Our races are outside. And so when we move outside, all of a sudden we bring these habits that we've developed over the winter to go outside and say, I only need 1 bottle an hour. I don't even really eat. Like I've got a box of stuff right next to me on the table. In case I need it, I grab it. If I don't need it, I don't grab it. So why even bother bringing it with me when I go outside? Well, therein lies the problem. Right. And what happens for the vast majority of athletes, I'll call this 80%, 4 out of 5, they'll take their winter training nutrition plan outside and they'll get away with it for about 2 weeks, particularly depending on how hot it is or quickly the ramp rate is for temperature. And then all of a sudden the wheels start to fall off. The weekend workouts get harder because the weekend workouts get longer in season. Remember, we're transitioning to race performance. So all of a sudden the weekend workouts start showing some cracks, like people really elevated heart rate at the end. We're starting to see that decoupling of heart rate from power. In fact, we'll even see the work rate go down. So the heart rate will go up and the work rate goes down at the same time. And people say, I've lost all my fitness. Like, what's going on? How can I be going backwards? And really, you're not. What's happening here is that you're just not fueled properly to be successful in the latter half of these longer sessions because you simply run out of the stored glycogen, the calories that you have on board, the fluid and hydration setup that you need to be successful. So when we really kind of work our way through the context of what it means to be successful in the season, a large part of it comes down to nailing this section of your season with regards to hydration. So how do we do it? What's the best way to go forward? Well, inside Endurance Nation, we prioritize hydration as the key component of your nutrition plan. So before we even start talking, calories and body mass size, lean body mass, and figuring things out, we start off with the hydration, and we get you to do a sweat test. You go out and you do the sweat test for your sport of choice, and we have those protocols inside the team. Then we'll determine how much fluid you lose in a given hour work rate for your typical race. Once we know how much fluid you lose, then we can figure out how to replace that fluid, offset it, if you will. So if you lose a pound of fluid, that's 16 ounces of fluid. We want to drink 16 ounces at that rate. And we know that you'll end up at a stable level. We carry that through and we say, okay, based off of that 16 ounces, what do you like to drink? We want electrolytes in there for sure, some sodium, but what else is in there in terms of calories? What's your jam? Once we figured that out, then we can say, okay, you're getting 120 calories out of your 16 ounces, and because of your lean body mass, we want to get in 200 calories. So we got to figure out how we're going to get these other 80 calories in across the course of an hour. So we solve with fluids first. F for fluids, F for first, then calories second. C for calories, S for second. Not even any remote correlation. Sorry for the dumb joke. So fluids first, always super important to remember. It's really important that we do this at race pace. So whatever it is you plan on doing in the event, we want to be dialed in for that. And we want to do it in ideal race-like conditions, or at least conditions that you'll be doing it in for the long haul. Now, it's possible that as you do this at the beginning of your transition outside, that the temperature will change further over time, getting hotter as you move into summer. In that case, you at least know the baseline of the work you need to do in terms of hydration. We can always ramp that up or dial it back, depending on the temperature of the day and the intensity at which you're exercising. And this hydration becomes really important because dehydration is super sneaky. What people don't realize is that as you become dehydrated, there's a couple key things that happen. Like your blood volume goes down, and that hydration inside your system, that's what helps your body stay cool, right? It's the sweat that comes out. As a result, when you stop sweating, you're in a lot of trouble, right? You kind of have that cotton mouth feeling. You start to get a little bit dizzy, and your body is prioritizing the exercise you're doing. It's saying, hey, you're still moving your legs, Patrick. You're still moving your arms. You're breathing hard. I know that you're thirsty, and like the brain and the heart, they need all this stuff, but like muscles demand fluids and calories. We're prioritizing them. You're not slowing down. And that goes on for a while until eventually your body says, we're going to slow you down by making you dizzy or making you sick so that you can't keep going. So you can't keep ignoring the situation that you've run your way into, literally. So as we think about making this early season transition, the number one thing you want to do is execute that sweat test. Again, we have our protocols, or find your own with your own coach or your own setup, whatever that may be, and really then begin to practice that plan first on the weekends. And what I tell the people is, hey, because these are the longer sessions, right? So don't go nuts indoor training in the springtime, Monday through Friday, regular nutrition plan. But Saturday and Sunday, that's when we start doing that nutrition plan according to that sweat test that you've taken. So we got like 2 days out of the 7 to kind of practice that a bit. Do that for 3 weeks, and then we come back and we say, okay, now we're going to start working that nutrition plan in for your Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. So it becomes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So now we're nailing our hydration on 4 days of the week. And in general cases, that's pretty much sufficient for you to make that adaptation and get into a place where you can handle the fluids that you need, offset the damage control, and start to see the results. Because the insidious cost of dehydration in terms of your regular training, especially as things get longer, is that it means it takes longer for you to recover. So a long ride on a Saturday where you're dehydrated when you finish and it takes you like 12 hours to get back to normal state, you'll feel fine the next day because you're like, I'm back, right? My pee is clean. I'm all good. This is perfect. What you don't realize is that delayed window of recovery and the cost associated with it physiologically has now moved everything else down. So now you're carrying fatigue a little bit longer. It's not much. It's like a couple extra pounds. But as the weeks go on and if the hydration doesn't improve, you're carrying additional fatigue in small incremental blocks that kind of sneaks up on you. And that's when things start to fall apart later on, simply because you haven't been taking care of yourself nutritionally early, right? So don't mess around with that early season transition to hydration. Instead, write it all out. Ask your teammates. If you're here inside the team, line it up. Let's do that sweat test. Let's make sure that you're taking care of that hydration needs. Ideally, that when you come back from your workout, whatever that may be, you're able to pee. Like you don't have to wait several hours for yourself to pee. You shouldn't be running out of bottles. You should always have the ability to find fluids or make a loop course to always come back and get more fluids. But remember, straight calories aside, that fluid is critical. We're preparing ourselves for the end of the race, the end of the ride, the end of the run, or the end of whatever your situation may be, where our body we know will be depleted, where our ability to consume calories and fluid will be significantly reduced due to the conditions or the terrain or just the logistics of your race. And the only way to be successful at those end points in terms of where you're trying to compete is making sure that the early points of your race, when you're within your control, where you're self-contained, self-supported, things are working well, we're not under duress just yet, physical or mental. If we're not able to solve those things early in the day, then the cascading effects of that down the road become really significant. If you find yourself dehydrated halfway through a big race, say halfway through a 5-hour event, you find yourself dehydrated, you need to consume a great deal of fluids. But you can't consume all those fluids and continue at that same race pace. You've got to slow yourself down so your body can absorb those fluids and get back at it. So you may be anywhere from 20 minutes to 40, 45 minutes off that race pace just to recover, simply because you didn't do a good job early on. One of the easy markers for this is to make sure that you've got your bike bottle all dialed in. And then on the side of that bottle, just draw those lines, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Get a bottle where you can see inside the edge of it. I don't have one right now, but some of my bike bottles have a clear strip so I can see and I can mark it all off there. So as I'm getting better at consuming fluids, I can follow that progression and make sure that I'm doing it in a way that's consistent with how I want to do it on my own. So I don't need that reminder and I know that I'm good. All right. So really think about that early season nutrition for yourself, particularly the hydration piece. Write up that stuff, take that sweat test, make sure you've got it dialed in, print it out, put it somewhere so that anytime you open your cabinet before you go to the big ride, you can see what it is, what you need, how to plan for it so you get it all taken care of. Plan your routes with pit stops ahead of time. Bring your powder if you need to, at the very least, bring salt pills so you can make sure that you're all set. All right. If you've got questions, comments, or feedback about early season transitions to hydration and the importance of this hydration plan, definitely hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/Endurance Station or head over to enduranceStation.us/new join. Create that membership and we'll see you on the inside. Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic week and I'll see you soon.